What happens when a respected actor sits down for a morning chat and gets blindsided by a host who seems more interested in tearing him down than having a real conversation? It only took one comment about his personal life for the entire interview to spiral into chaos, exposing a side of daytime television that viewers never see. This is the moment Nicholas Ralph had enough. The morning started normally enough. Nicholas Ralph walked into the studio with that same warm smile. Viewers have come to know. He was there to talk about his work, to connect with fans, to do what actors do when they promote their projects. Standard stuff. Nothing fancy. Just a conversation between professionals. But the second he sat down across from Lorraine Kelly, something felt off. You could see it in her eyes. That look. The one that says, "This is not going to go the way you think it will." Sitting next to Lorraine were three panelists who appeared regularly on the show. There was Simon, an entertainment reporter with a reputation for stirring the pot. Then Michelle, a columnist who usually played it safe. And finally, Robert, a broadcasting veteran who had seen it all. Lorraine did not waste time with pleasantries. She barely let Nicholas get comfortable before launching in. "Nicholas, lovely to have you here," she said, though her tone suggested otherwise. "Though I have to say, I am surprised you agreed to come on after everything that has been said about you lately." Nicholas laughed, thinking she was joking. "I am sorry. What do you mean?" "Oh, come on," Lorraine continued, waving her hand dismissively. "Surely you have seen the articles, the comments, people talking about your attitude, your ego." The smile faded from Nicholas's face. "I genuinely have no idea what you are talking about, Lorraine. I came here to discuss the new series." "Yes, well, we will get to that," Lorraine said, glancing at her notes. "But first, I think we need to address the elephant in the room. You have become quite the diva, have you not?" Simon leaned forward, sensing tension. "Lorraine, maybe we should let Nicholas respond to that before we—" "I am asking the questions here, Simon," Lorraine cut him off sharply. "Nicholas, you were seen at a restaurant last week making quite a scene. Witnesses say you were extremely rude to the staff. Care to comment?" Nicholas blinked several times, clearly trying to process what was happening. "I was at a restaurant with friends. We had a nice meal. I have no idea what you are referring to. I am always respectful to service staff. Anyone who knows me will tell you that." "Well, that is not what I heard," Lorraine pressed on. "Multiple sources have told me you sent your food back 3 times. 3 times, Nicholas. And apparently, you raised your voice at a young waitress." "That is absolutely not true," Nicholas said firmly. "None of that happened. Where are you getting this information?" Lorraine smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "I have my sources. Very reliable sources." Michelle spoke up, her voice gentle. "Nicholas, why don't you tell us about the new series? I know fans are very excited about it." "Thank you, Michelle," Nicholas said gratefully. "Yes, we have been working really hard on this season, and—" "We are not done with my questions," Lorraine interrupted again. "Nicholas, there are also rumors about your behavior on set, that you refuse to work with certain crew members, that you demand special treatment, that you throw fits when things do not go your way." Nicholas took a deep breath. You could see him counting to 10 in his head. "Lorraine, I do not know who has been feeding you these stories, but none of them are true. I show up on time. I do my work. I treat everyone with respect. I do not understand why you are attacking me like this." "Attacking you?" Lorraine laughed, but it was cold. "I am simply asking questions, Nicholas. If you cannot handle basic questions, maybe you should not be doing interviews." "Basic questions?" Nicholas repeated, his voice rising slightly. "You have accused me of being rude to restaurant staff, of being difficult on set, of being a diva. Those are not questions. Those are accusations. And they are false." Robert cleared his throat. "I have to say, Lorraine, this does seem a bit—" "A bit what, Robert?" Lorraine snapped, turning her glare on him. Are you about to tell me how to conduct my own interview on my own show? I am just saying, Robert continued carefully, that Nicholas came here in good faith, and perhaps we should give him a chance to actually talk about his work instead of grilling him about unverified rumors. Unverified rumors, Lorraine scoffed. I do my research, Robert. I do not bring things up unless I have good reason to believe they are true. Nicholas leaned forward, his hands clasped tightly together. Then show me your evidence. Show me these sources. Because I am telling you right now in front of everyone watching that I have never behaved the way you are describing. Ever. Oh, so now you want me to reveal my sources? Lorraine said mockingly. That is not how journalism works, Nicholas. You should know that. This is not journalism, Nicholas shot back. This is ambush. This is you trying to humiliate someone for... I do not even know why. What did I ever do to you? The studio went quiet. You could hear the cameras still rolling. The crew members standing around the set shifted uncomfortably. This was live television, and it was falling apart. Lorraine's face went red. What did you do to me? How dare you make this about me? I am asking you legitimate questions, and you cannot handle it. That tells me everything I need to know about you. You have not asked me a single legitimate question since I sat down, Nicholas replied, his voice steady but filled with emotion. You have thrown accusations at me. You have insulted me. You have refused to let your own panelists steer the conversation back to something productive. This is not an interview. This is you taking out some kind of personal vendetta. Simon nodded. He has a point, Lorraine. This has gotten really uncomfortable. Oh, has it? Lorraine said sarcastically. Well, I am so sorry that my show makes you uncomfortable, Simon. Perhaps you would like to host it yourself? That is not what I meant, Simon said quickly. No, please, go ahead, Lorraine continued, her voice dripping with sarcasm. You all seem to think you know better than me. Nicholas thinks I am attacking him. Robert thinks I am not being fair. Simon thinks it is uncomfortable. Well, let me tell you something. I have been doing this for longer than any of you. I know what I am doing. Michelle tried again. Lorraine, I think everyone is just concerned that this has gotten away from the original purpose of... The original purpose, Lorraine interrupted yet again, was to have an honest conversation with Nicholas Ralph. But apparently, he cannot handle honesty. Nicholas stood up slowly, not in anger, but with a quiet dignity that made the moment even more powerful. I can handle honesty, Lorraine. What I cannot handle is dishonesty. What I cannot handle is sitting here while you make up stories about me and present them as fact. What I cannot handle is being disrespected on national television. Sit down, Lorraine commanded. We are not finished. Yes, we are, Nicholas said calmly. I am finished. I am not going to sit here for another second while you try to destroy my reputation based on lies. Lorraine stood up as well, her hands on her hips. You walk out of here, and you will look guilty. Everyone will think those stories are true. Let them think what they want, Nicholas replied. The people who know me, the people I work with every single day, they know the truth. And honestly, after this, I think a lot of people watching at home know the truth too. They can see what is happening here. What is happening here, Lorraine said, her voice shaking now, is that you cannot handle being challenged. You come on shows like mine expecting everyone to fawn all over you, to tell you how wonderful you are, to softball you easy questions. Well, that is not what I do. I ask the hard questions. You have not asked me anything hard, Nicholas said, beginning to remove his microphone. You have just been cruel. There is a difference between tough questions and cruelty, Lorraine, and you crossed that line about 10 minutes ago. Robert stood up now, too. Nicholas is right. I have been on this panel for 5 years, and I have never seen anything like this. This is not okay. Oh, wonderful, Lorraine said bitterly. Now you are all turning against me. My own panelists. Turning on me in the middle of a live show. We are not turning on you, Michelle said softly, though she remained seated. We are just trying to bring some balance here. This has gotten really intense, really fast. Intense? Lorraine laughed again, that same cold laugh. You have no idea what intense is. I built this show from nothing. Nothing. And now I have to sit here and be lectured by people who would not have careers without me. Simon's mouth fell open. Lorraine, that is what? Lorraine demanded. That is the truth? Yes, it is. Every single one of you should be grateful to be sitting in those chairs. And Nicholas, you should be grateful I even invited you on my show. Do you know how many actors would kill for this opportunity? This opportunity? Nicholas repeated incredulously. This opportunity to be attacked, to have my character questioned, to be called a liar on live television? You can keep that opportunity, Lorraine. He set his microphone on the chair and straightened his jacket. A producer rushed onto the set, looking panicked. Nicholas, please, the producer said. Let us just take a breath. We can... No, Nicholas said firmly, but kindly. I appreciate what you are trying to do, but I am not staying. This is not what I signed up for. Lorraine pointed at him, her fingers shaking. You are making the biggest mistake of your career right now. I have connections everywhere. Print, television, radio. You walk out on me, and I will make sure every single outlet knows what kind of person you really are. Nicholas paused at those words. He turned back to face Lorraine directly. And what kind of person am I, Lorraine? Please, tell everyone. Tell them exactly what kind of person I am, based on this interview. You are arrogant, Lorraine spat. You are entitled. You think the world revolves around you. You cannot take criticism. You run away when things get difficult. I am standing up for myself, Nicholas corrected gently. That is not running away. That is having enough self-respect to know when something is wrong and removing myself from it. But if that makes me arrogant in your eyes, then I suppose I will have to live with that. Michelle had tears in her eyes now. Nicholas, I am so sorry this happened. This was not right. Thank you, Michelle, Nicholas said sincerely. I appreciate that more than you know. You tried to help. You all did, except... He glanced at Lorraine, but did not finish the sentence. Except me, Lorraine finished for him. Go ahead and say it. Blame me. Make me the villain. But I was just doing my job. Your job is not to bully your guests, Robert said, his voice louder now. Your job is to have conversations, to inform, to entertain, not to tear people down. How dare you, Lorraine breathed. How dare you speak to me that way? How dare you treat Nicholas that way? Robert countered. I have stayed quiet about a lot of things over the years, but this is too much. This crosses every line. Simon nodded in agreement. I have to say, I agree with Robert. This was really inappropriate, Lorraine. Lorraine looked around at her panel, at the crew, at the cameras, and finally back at Nicholas. For just a moment, something flickered across her face. Was it regret? Realization? But it vanished as quickly as it appeared, replaced by anger again. Fine, she said coldly. Everyone leave. Nicholas, go. Run away. Robert, Simon, Michelle, if you feel so strongly about it, leave too. I do not need any of you. I never have. That is not true, Michelle said quietly. You do need people, Lorraine. We all do. No one does this alone. Watch me, Lorraine replied. Nicholas shook his head sadly. I hope you figure out what is really bothering you, Lorraine. Because I do not think this was ever really about me. Something else is going on. I hope you get the help you need. I do not need help, Lorraine shouted. I need people who respect me. I need people who understand that I am the one in charge here. Being in charge does not mean being cruel, Nicholas said. Those were his final words before he walked toward the exit. The producer, was speaking frantically into his headset. "We need to cut. We need to cut now." But the cameras kept rolling. The whole world was watching this meltdown happen in real time. Lorraine called after Nicholas one more time. "You will never work in this industry again. I will make sure of it. Do you hear me, Nicholas? Never." Nicholas stopped at the door, but did not turn around. He just stood there for a moment, letting her words hang in the air. Then he walked out, leaving the door open behind him. The silence that followed was deafening. Robert sat back down heavily. Simon stared at his hands. Michelle wiped her eyes. Lorraine stood in the center of the set, breathing hard, her carefully constructed facade completely shattered. "Well," she finally said, trying to regain some composure, "I suppose that is what happens when you invite someone who cannot handle real questions." But nobody responded. Nobody agreed with her. The crew avoided her eyes. Her panelists said nothing. Even the cameras seemed to be judging her. Robert finally spoke, his voice tired. "That was not real questions, Lorraine. That was something else entirely." "Oh, please," Lorraine said, but her voice had lost its fire. She sounded hollow now. "You are all being so dramatic." "We are being honest," Simon said. "For once, we are actually being honest about what just happened here." "And what did happen here, Simon?" Lorraine asked. "Enlighten me." "You attacked a guest," Simon said simply. "A guest who came here in good faith. You made accusations you could not back up. You refused to listen to anyone trying to bring balance to the conversation. And when that guest stood up for himself, you threatened him." "I did not threaten him," Lorraine protested weakly. "You told him he would never work again," Robert pointed out. "That sounds like a threat to me." Michelle stood up for the first time. "I think I need to leave. I cannot be part of this anymore." "You are leaving too?" Lorraine asked, and for the first time, there was something other than anger in her voice. It sounded almost like fear. "I am sorry, Lorraine," Michelle said, "but yes, I am leaving. This is not what I signed up for either." And just like that, Michelle walked off the set. Then Simon stood up. Then Robert. One by one, they left, until Lorraine was standing there alone with just the crew and the still rolling cameras. The producer finally got the signal to cut. "And we are going to commercial," he said into his headset, his voice strained. But the damage was done. Everyone had seen it. Everyone knew what had happened. A morning show that was supposed to be friendly and light had turned into something dark and uncomfortable. A host who was supposed to be warm and welcoming had revealed herself to be something very different. And Nicholas Ralph, the quiet actor who just wanted to talk about his work, had walked away with his dignity intact. He had not yelled. He had not cursed. He had not stooped to her level. He had simply said enough is enough and removed himself from a toxic situation. In that moment, Nicholas became more than just an actor promoting a show. He became a symbol of standing up for yourself, of knowing your worth, of refusing to be treated poorly just because someone has a platform and thinks that gives them power over you. The interview that was supposed to last 20 minutes ended after just 12. 12 minutes that felt like an eternity for everyone involved. 12 minutes that exposed the ugly side of television that usually stays hidden behind bright lights and fake smiles. Lorraine eventually sat back down in her chair, looking smaller somehow. The makeup artist approached cautiously, asking if she needed a touch-up before they came back from commercial. Lorraine waved her away without speaking. "What do we do now?" one of the assistant producers asked. "I do not know," another replied. "This has never happened before." And it had not. In all the years the show had been on the air, nothing like this had ever occurred. Guests had disagreed with Lorraine before, sure. There had been debates, discussions, moments of tension, but nothing like this. Never a complete breakdown. Never a guest walking out. Never the entire panel abandoning ship in the middle of a broadcast. When they came back from commercial, Lorraine had composed herself somewhat. She looked into the camera and smiled that practiced smile. "Welcome back," she said, as if nothing had happened. "We had a bit of an unexpected situation there, but we are professionals, and the show must go on." But the show did not really go on, not in any meaningful way. Lorraine tried to continue with the scheduled programming, but her heart was not in it. How could it be? She sat at that desk alone, without her panel, without her guest, with everyone watching, knowing exactly what had just transpired. She brought on the next guest, a chef who was supposed to demonstrate a new recipe. The poor woman looked terrified, clearly having watched the previous segment and wondering what she was walking into. Lorraine tried to be cheerful, tried to ask questions about the food, tried to act like everything was normal. But it was not normal, and everyone knew it. Back in his dressing room, Nicholas sat quietly, processing what had happened. A stage manager knocked on the door. "Are you okay?" she asked gently. "I am fine," Nicholas replied. "Just disappointed, I suppose. I really did not want that to happen." "None of us did," the stage manager said. "For what it is worth, I think you handled it perfectly. You were nothing but professional." "I just wanted to talk about the show," Nicholas said with a sad smile. "That was all I wanted." "I know," she said, "and I am sorry you did not get to do that." Nicholas gathered his things and prepared to leave. As he walked through the backstage area, crew members stopped him to shake his hand, to pat him on the back, to tell him they were sorry about what happened. Every single one of them had seen it. Every single one of them knew he had been treated unfairly. "Keep your head up," one cameraman said. "You did nothing wrong." "Thank you," Nicholas replied. "That means a lot." And with that, Nicholas Ralph left the building. He walked out into the daylight, where photographers were already gathering, having heard about the confrontation. But Nicholas did not stop to answer questions. He did not make a statement. He simply got into his car and drove away. Inside the studio, the show limped to its conclusion. Lorraine went through the motions, but everyone could tell her mind was elsewhere. When the final segment ended and the cameras finally stopped rolling, she sat there for a long moment before standing up and walking off the set without a word to anyone. The crew began breaking down the equipment. The producers huddled together, trying to figure out how to handle the fallout. The panelists who had walked out did not come back. It was over. The interview that was supposed to be routine had become anything but. The morning that started normally had ended in chaos, and the host who thought her position gave her unlimited power had learned that there are some things more powerful than a platform. Things like integrity, like self-respect, like knowing when to walk away from something that is harming you. Nicholas Ralph had shown all of those things, and in doing so, he had won something far more valuable than any interview could have given him. He had won the respect of everyone watching. He had shown that you can be strong without being loud, that you can stand up for yourself without tearing others down, that you can walk away with your head held high. And Lorraine Kelly? She was left sitting in an empty studio, surrounded by people who no longer looked at her the same way. The mask had slipped. The truth had been revealed. And no amount of smiling into cameras or reading from scripts could put that back together again. The morning that was supposed to be about promoting a television show became about something much bigger. It became about how we treat each other, about the responsibility that comes with having a platform, about the importance of respect and dignity and basic human decency. All of that in just 12 minutes. 12 minutes that changed everything.